welcome everyone to Living in Faith. I'm your host, Giovanna Tartarone.
And I am your co-host, Pablo Sanchez. Great to see you, Gigi.
Likewise, great to see you. And this show is brought to you by Holistic Wellness Summit. Join us on November 1st to really get a good feeling of what it is to come together and really help this world to heal. Visit weqhsummit.com for more information how you can join us. And today's show, we're going to be talking about unlocking the transformative power of gratitude. Being grateful opens the door to receive more. Is that right, Pablo?
Completely, Gigi. And, I hope you don't mind, but I just need to share. I just did that with my daughter. I recently did that with my daughter, Gabby. It was completely amazing. Completely amazing. What happened is on December 27th, my daughter gave birth, became a father, and everything is fine. And then I went to visit her in her little apartment. Then I realized how tiny that apartment was. The kitchen was like a small closet. You can't even say a closet. It was a small closet, and the bathroom, you can forget about it. And now there was the prospect of a family of three living in this tiny apartment, and it made me want to cry, Gigi.
I believe it.
But as opposed to crying, I went into prayer and I started asking God to please help my daughter. I was not specific with anything, but that's the power of God right there, because I was not specific at all. But as soon as I didn't even finish saying that, I went into gratitude and I started thanking God for what I knew that He was going to do for my daughter. And deep behind me, I did know that He was going to outdo Himself. He was really going to outdo Himself. And part of the reason is because He knows I have a big mouth, and He knows I'm going to give testimony as to the fact that what He did for my daughter. So this happens in the beginning of January. As my daughter says that she's going to apply for a lottery apartment. So myself, lottery apartment means, for somebody that doesn't have the financial means. So I asked my daughter, do you want me to decrease your salary so you can meet this lottery requirements? My daughter she got so upset at me. Daddy, how could you say that? You're the one that told me that, you asked for the same God, the same $300 that you need. He's going to give you $3,000. You told me that, Dad. I said, oh, my God. So she scolded me for saying that. And I said, you're right. You're right, Gabby. You're right. And then what happens is, in my limited mind, I was still keeping her in a one-bedroom apartment. And but my daughter had applied for a two-bedroom apartment. Now, you figure two-bedroom apartment and everything else. And I have a lot of traffic here in my office, and I was sharing this story with other people, and they hear a lottery apartment. Yes, I got my lottery apartment. It took me 15 years. It takes 15 years to get this lottery apartment. But when you're with God and you go straight into gratitude and you start thanking Him for something that you haven't even done the application for yet, that's faith. You're showing true faith, and before you know it, that comes through. But the point right here that I'm trying to make is that God likes to outdo Himself. See, I did not tell Him what was going on. I did not tell Him that, look, this the current apartment for my daughter has a small window, and the window that she does have is looking at the back of a building. I didn't say any of those things. I didn't need to say them because God knew already.
But you also, what you did? When you got up that morning, you wrote a letter to God that morning, didn't you? To give Him gratitude for everything you had, didn't you?
I'm learning so much, Gigi. I get up in the morning with Philippians 4:13. I can do everything through Christ, and I have learned so much about being with Christ. When you're with Christ, things like this do happen. You can ask for anything, and God performs Himself. With my daughter, what He did is He got her a two-bedroom apartment. The windows from the floor to the ceiling, and then wrapped around windows, and then she had living room. I mean, she had a washer dryer, and then she also had a dishwasher. And I like to say that the dishwasher is not her husband. So, but this is how God outperforms
Yeah.
Himself. It's all through gratitude.
Gratitude.
Gratitude meaning, you know that God is going to do everything for you, and you don't even have to go into the detail as to what you need because He knows everything way beforehand. And may I say once again, He outdid Himself.
Yeah.
It is really a brand new building that she has, and it has all the commodities over there. It has a gymnasium, it has this for the kids, and it has everything. You name it, it has it. But the best thing yet is that the rent that she's paying for this two-bedroom apartment is less than what she was paying for her tiny apartment.
It's just being grateful, right? Being grateful for you to receive more. I think sometimes that we forget, we know we're grateful for what we have. We know we're grateful. We wake up in the morning, but we forget to actually verbalize that. We forget because when we verbalize it, there's something within our heart that opens up, right? Because if we are feeling in the gratitude mode, what are we going to go out and do? We're going to go out and treat someone else with love, right? When we are seeking, when we see lack, and we don't have enough of this and we're complaining about that and we're complaining about that, what happens? We don't want to go talk to anybody. We become, right, we don't share love, we share hate. So being grateful is a powerful way to not only feed our soul but also stay connected to everything that there is, right?
Well, what I have done is I have really gone into a deep dive into the Apostle Paul. The Apostle Paul, a short version. He was Saul of Tarso. He was really a Pharisee that was out there to get the Christians, the ones that believed in the fact that Jesus had risen. So then he has a meeting with Jesus Christ, and he tells him, Saul, Saul, why are you pursuing me? And then he realizes that Jesus Christ is the Messiah. Now, Saul, he studied under the best Pharisee ever, and he was a well-to-do family. He had everything. And now, when he decides to give everything up and follow Jesus or spread the message of Jesus, by the way, being who he was, he knew the law of Moses, Moses' law. He knew the law. So that's
Mhm.
under the Old Testament. So God chose him to bridge from the Old Testament to the New Testament because he would be the one that can do this whole thing. Now, because of that, he gets of course, he goes to jail. He said there are people trying to kill him. Everything's happening to him. And then while he's in jail, he writes 13 epistles. It's completely amazing. But the thing is that while he's in jail, he is rejoicing himself. Now here you have somebody has been beaten up. One time he was beaten up so bad he was left for dead, and then he came back in. He came back inside. So you have somebody that had all the reasons to be feeling sorry for himself and everything else. But what he was doing is he was rejoicing himself with God. So what I'm trying to say is it doesn't matter what your situation is. Be grateful for what you have.
Yes.
And being grateful for what you have, you will see the blessings that will come to you. Blessings in the form that whatever you express yourself, whatever it is that God already knows what you need. It's all about you being grateful for what you have, where you're at. And the big reason is because it is in His timing, not in our timing. Not when we think we need it, but when He needs it. In order for that to happen, you have to pass the test. You have to pass the test. And when you do, you're really going to say, wow,
Yeah.
wow. Gigi, I didn't even know that I was being put through tests. I didn't even know. But you have been to my office. In my office, they a very simple person can come in and I can treat them like the my best client, and I'll make sure I have spent 2 3 hours with the client, ensuring that I have answered all the questions. And then seeing that the person doesn't have money, I would say, they and the people that do not have money, they're the ones that ask me, how much do I owe you, Mr. Sanchez? And when they say that, I says, no, just pray for me. Just pray for me. Gigi, I've been doing this for 30 years. Just pray for me. And I didn't know what I was doing. All I knew is that I did not have the money in my pocket, but I felt good that I helped somebody out, and that was it. Next year, I have this big client. This big client is paying me 6 figures, and I'm not really doing anything for that client. We're preparing to do a major deal, but I've been getting paid on a monthly basis this huge salary, and I'm not doing anything. See, that's gratitude. That's gratitude from God. You don't, I was being thankful for everything I was saying and everything. Thank you. Just pray for me. Next, I didn't know that I was depositing all that gratitude, all of that into this big account, and the one that was keeping all accounts was God Himself. And then when the time came, He opens up the wallet and He starts giving it to me. When it happens to you, you don't know where it's coming from. But if you realize that, if you look back and say, wow, not that I deserve it or anything. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying. I'm just grateful. I'm just grateful because for CPAs, accountants, right now, this is the worst time ever. The good time is income tax season. This is not income tax season, and here I am. I'm still living the life. I'm living the life.
Because you've given yourself up to those who could not, let's say, pay you, right? And you accepted that and you saw yourself being of service. See, I believe that now, right? Before I didn't believe this, but now I believe and I see that first you must serve and then you receive, right? But serving from a point of not expecting anything in return. Because what you just said before was you received your return on God's timing. So if every day you're serving, whether it is you being an accountant serving your clients, or you go to the supermarket and you go buy something and you serve by, saying hello to someone or packing their bags or whatever you're doing, if you're serving others first, if that's what's in your mind first, there is no way that you're not going to get rewarded. But we are trained, no, you have to work for your money. It's work. And they don't see work as a service.
See, what people fail to realize is that God has given all of us different gifts. Different gifts, but most of the time we're over there feeling sorry for ourselves as opposed to spending time with God and asking God, what is my purpose in life? And then God's going to tell you, look at yourself in the mirror. What gifts do you have that another person doesn't have? Right? Because here we are feeling sorry, we don't have this, we don't have that. But then if you think about it, right, you can go over there and, you can go to a hospital. You can visit in the early home and listen to those folks. And who knows? Seriously, if you sit down and go over there to an elderly house and you start listening to them, and it just so happens that one of those guys is an Andrew Carnegie right there. That's just been waiting. It's just been waiting for you to, waiting for someone to come and claim what God has given them already.
It's wisdom, right? It's wisdom that they're sharing.
Exactly. But, here you are, a lot of people are feeling sorry for themselves as opposed to looking at themselves in the mirror and looking at the gifts that God has given them and start using those gifts, in the way they're supposed to. Myself, I'm a CPA. Now I see that that's a gift. That's a talent. That's a talent that I have. And then now I'm using my gifts not to preach, but over here to listen to my clients. My clients now, they know that they ask me, Gigi, are you still a CPA or are you preaching now?
So, but you're combining both gifts together. And I think that's, that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to take whatever we love to do, right? And also share it. And so you found yourself a little passion here. Like, it was never on your resume, neither was mine, to do what we're doing today, right? It wasn't in our plans.
See, I'm gonna just share the parable of the talents, right? God has gifted us all with talents, right? In this case, the talents are going to say it's like money, right? So you have the landlord, is going to go on a trip and he leaves talents, money to three individuals, right? And then when the landlord comes back, right? The first two, they come up, oh, here, look, I have doubled your money, this and that, right? And then there's the other one that hid his talent because he didn't want to lose. He just wanted to preserve it so that when the master came, here you go. Here's your money, right? So what happens, right? It's like, it did not work. So bottom line is God has given you talents. You're supposed to use those talents. God is watching what you're doing with those talents. If
You need to share them, right? You need to share
need
them.
need to share your talents. If you do not share them, there are consequences to be paid. Okay.
Absolutely. Well, let's switch over to our friends in Spanish and speak to them this beautiful message. Share
Eh,
this beautiful
Muy
message.
buenas noches. Estamos hablando del poder de la gratitud. Como usted, bueno, empezando con la historia de mi hija Gabriela, me hizo abuelo en diciembre 27 del año pasado. Y bueno, antes de eso, mi hija vivía en un apartamento de un dormitorio y parecía que todo estaba bien. Pero después de que el niño nació y me fui a visitarle al niño en el apartamento ese se veía demasiado pequeño. La cocina era como un closet, que ni un closet así de grandecito, era un closet. Y el baño ni la mitad de baño, era la mitad de un closetcito. Me dio ganas de llorar a mí viendo eso. Pero en vez de llorar, yo le pedí a Dios que le ayude a mi hija. Eso fue lo único que dije porque ni terminé de decir nada que yo entré en gratitud. Me puse a agradecerle a Dios porque yo sabía que Dios le iba a hacer algo grandísimo para ella. No sabía lo grandísimo que iba a hacer, pero aquí Dios quiere usar a cada uno de nosotros, nos quiere dar cualquier cosa que nosotros pidamos, porque sabe que nosotros vamos a dar un testimonio de que vea que cuando usted pide algo con fe, que Dios le va a dar. Por mi parte, yo no le dije a Dios que por favor consíguele un apartamento más grande, esto. Nada más dije que le ayude a mi hija. No fui específico de ninguna manera, pero pero Dios sabe el principio, el final. Él sabe lo que nosotros necesitamos antes de que nosotros le preguntemos, de que nosotros le pidamos. Y yo no le dije a Dios que, mire, el apartamento de mi hija tiene una ventanita y la ventana ve atrás del otro edificio. Yo no dije ninguna de esas cosas. Ahora, definitivamente me entré a agradecerle porque yo sé que para mí todo es imposible, pero para Dios todo es posible. Yo creo que el secreto mío aquí fue que yo no regresé cada día pidiéndole a Dios lo mismo. Yo seguí agradeciéndole. He aquí, este es el poder transformador del agradecimiento. Ese es el tema que estamos hablando aquí. Yo seguí agradeciéndole, aunque yo no sabía cómo iba a suceder esto. Pero ahora miren lo que pasa. Mi hija me dice que va a hacer una aplicación para unos apartamentos de lotería. Yo he tenido aquí clientes de mi oficina Y los clientes, yo he hablado de ellos de eso de las loterías. Dice, sí, sí, yo finalmente recibí el mío después de 15 años. Entonces yo digo, 15 años, wow. Entonces yo le digo a mi hija, ¿quieres que te baje el salario un poquito para que puedas calificar para esta lotería? Y mi hija se coge y me dice, papi, ¿cómo me puedes decir eso? Tú eres el que me dijiste que el mismo Dios que me va a dar los $300 que necesites es el mismo Dios que va a dar los $3,000. Papi. Y yo dije, wow, qué cosa tan linda cuando los hijos se acuerdan lo que el papá le ha dicho. Yo ni sabía que ella me escuchó cuando le dije eso. Pero ella sí se había acordado eso y me corrigió a mí. Que hay un Dios, el mismo Dios que usted puede estar pidiendo los $300, el mismo Dios que le va a dar $3,000. O sea, pida y pida grande. Entonces, en el medio de marzo, empezó en enero, ni 2 meses y medio, le entregaron a mi hija unas llaves para un apartamento de 2 dormitorios. 2 dormitorios, 2 baños, lavadora, secadora y un lavaplatos. Y el lavaplatos no es del esposo, ¿ok? Bueno, lo que sucede es que cada baño era más grande que el baño y la cocina que ella tenía. Tiene 2 baños. Las ventanas desde el piso al tumbado. Un wraparound completito. Ese es el poder de Dios cuando uno pide. Yo pedí una vez, después me entré en agradecimiento y eso fue más que suficiente para que Dios le dé lo que mi hija necesitaba. Una cosa maravillosa que definitivamente está al alcance de todos nosotros. Ahora, usted puede decir, muy bien, Pablo, ok, pero ahora, ¿qué tal mi situación? Mira mi situación, yo estoy enfermo, yo tengo esto. Cualquier problema que uno tenga, sea un problema físico, problema financiero, problema del amor, lo que sea, el mejor ejemplo que les puedo dar es este, ¿no? Yo ahora, en este momento, ya estoy en mi segundo año estudiando mi Biblia, en camino a serme pastor, y me he entrado bastante en a quién es el apóstol Pablo. El apóstol Pablo, antes de eso, se llamaba Saulo de Tarso. Saulo de Tarso es un judío y un judío que era un fariseo. El padre de él es un gran fariseo, un gran master fariseo. Y él le puso a estudiar a su hijo con Gamaliel. Gamaliel es el profesor de los profesores que enseñaban la ley de Moisés, ¿ok? Entonces, ese es el Viejo Testamento. Entonces, lo que sucede es, papito Dios le escoge a Saulo porque él sí es un scholar del Viejo Testamento y le quiere usar a él para hacer un puente al Nuevo Testamento. Entonces, al hacer eso, él se convierte en camino a Damasco. Viene una luz bien ahí, es Dios que viene ahí, y Dios le pregunta, Saulo, Saulo, ¿por qué me persigues? Y dice, y ahí Saulo de Tarso ve que él estaba buscando el Mesías, como está buscando en el Viejo Testamento. Está diciendo, tú eres el Mesías. Y ahí él queda en conocimiento que él es el Mesías. Y después de eso, él es bautizado, todo. Y después él llega a ser la persona que escribe 13 epístolas del Nuevo Testamento. ¿Okay? Así de poderoso. Entonces, al hacer eso, ahora él antes estaba persiguiendo a los cristianos, ahora él se convierte a cristiano, ahora le empiezan a perseguir a él. Le cogen, le dan palizas, de una paliza le dejan por muerto. Le dejan por muerto a él y después se levanta, regresa. Después le cogen, le meten en la cárcel. Al le meten en la cárcel, cuando está en la cárcel, ¿qué es lo que hace? Ahí es donde escribe las epístolas. Pero ahí en eso él está regocijándose en Dios. Está haciendo alabanzas a Dios, alabando a Dios. Él y Silas están alabando a Dios. Imagínese, usted está aquí adolorido porque me acaban de dar una paliza. Estoy en la cárcel. With me, Nada de eso. Nada de eso. Él se está regocijando en Dios. El punto mío es, no importa la situación que nosotros estemos. Aquí Dios nos ha dado a todos talentos y con esos talentos, ¿qué es lo que usted está haciendo con su talento? Tal vez usted no tenga algo, no tenga otra cosa, pero le estoy diciendo, mírese en un espejo, mire qué es lo que Dios le ha dado, qué es lo que usted tiene y compártale con el mundo entero. Y aquí la parábola de los talentos. En la parábola de los talentos, el dueño se está yendo, está saliendo por un momento, coge los talentos, que significa dinero, le da a los sirvientes, dos de los sirvientes. Cuando él regresa, dos de los sirvientes han multiplicado lo que recibieron. El otro estaba escondido ahí guardándolo. Que usted no sea esa persona que lo guarda, porque Dios espera que usted use sus talentos, que usted comparta sus talentos con el mundo entero. Es una manera de enseñar gratitud a todo el mundo. ¿Okay? Aquí, para cualquier otra cosa, búsquenme a mí en Viviendo en Fe 111. Ahí está mi canal en YouTube para que escuchen todas estas maravillas que estoy hablando. How's that, Gigi?
Gratitude for the world. I understood that part, right?
Completely, Gigi. Wow.
Well, thank you. It's a beautiful message. Absolutely. And we'll end the show this way. Thank you, Pablo, for your wisdom as always. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Until next time, I'm your host, Giovanna Tartarone.
I am your co-host, Pablo Sanchez. Thank you, Gigi. Thank you, Lord. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Lord.
Amen.
Amen.